Hi everyone, thank you for joining me again in this video where I'm going to show you how I made this illustration, and I will talk about these subjects and give you the following tips. 1. What materials I'm using. 2. Motivation to start if you have fear or self-doubt. And 3. You will see a speed painting. On my Patreon you can find a longer video with more tips. That's patreon.com/MarjoleineKaljouw. Click the link down below if you're interested. I want to talk more about this to get you to the next level, because I noticed that many people have this problem. Artists say that they struggle with getting started, and I want to break it down for you what is probably causing it, how you could get yourself back in action and enjoy the process as well. I think it's already good that you are aware of it, if that's the case with you, because that's going to help you to move forward. Okay, what materials I'm using. I try to make things with different material, and this time I'm using color, pencil and acrylics on paper. This is probably easier for you if you are a beginner than painting with oils, for example. Okay, first about Arches paper. I've been painting a lot on Arches paper. It's an acid-free paper and heavyweight. If you're looking for a little bit cheaper paper, I would go for Canson or for De La Rowney paper. It's also very nice. Another thing is Faber Castell color pencils. I was just testing these out, so I can't review these as these are the best pencils ever. I only want to do that when I compare them to another top brand, but my little wish is just that they are going to make mechanical pencils with more color LEDs. That would be awesome. The reason that I'm using mechanical pencils mixed with regular pencils is that I can make more definition. So I'm using my Pentel Graphgear 600 with blue Staedtler LEDs, and I really like the intensity of the blue Staedtler LEDs. And I'm also using a mechanical pencil from Pentel Orenz 0.2mm LEDs. I believe it's B. I talked about this before in my other video, so yeah, that's something that I use over and over again. And of course, a smudger or a paper stump. Let me know what the usual term is for this. And a kneadable eraser or knead eraser. And my Pentel Graphgear 1000. That's the best pencil ever. I really love it. I was planning on only using color pencils first, I think, but I'm not really used to that grainy texture you automatically get with colored pencils, so I used acrylics on top to smooth things out. And I was already using this paper. I was drawing a bee with flowers before on really smooth paper, and there I didn't have those grainy texture things, so maybe I should use other paper for the color pencils, but I always like to have an option to paint it later on if I want. So that's just something small that I've noticed. Of course, I'm sitting really close to the paper, and I know that there are some blend tools, but I haven't tried that yet, so I will definitely try that out. Okay, let's talk about fear and self-doubt. Okay, what a subject, I just want to give you motivation to start. So, okay, if you notice that you have serious fear when starting a new piece, or when it keeps you from starting and you procrastinate, you could ask yourself a few things. So, why am I afraid to start? Why do I have this fear? Or why do I keep procrastinating? Maybe it's that you are working on something for hours, and if it doesn't come out the way you want it, it just sucks, and you feel like you are wasting your time, and you will feel bad about the time that you've wasted. That's in my case. Like, I spent all these hours and I'm not satisfied with it. So I noticed I had some fear with my last piece, and the reason for that was that I had struggled with the sketch for a bigger painting just before this painting. So I had not this piggy painting, another one. Okay, so I hadn't made a bigger piece for a long time, and the face that I've chosen just wasn't working the way I wanted. So I was afraid that that was going to repeat itself. I also had some time pressure because there's a deadline, and you know, we don't want to feel this way because it makes us feel like a loser. But is that really the case? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? You know, think about it. It's not going to turn out the way you want. Well, if it's a painting, you can just paint another layer on top, right? And if it's a drawing, you can just throw the paper away and start on a new piece of paper. But yeah, another fear could be that you get critique from someone else, and especially if you have been working for hours, you just don't want this. I think for me, like, the worst thing that can happen is that you think you can't do it. If I think about my last experience, I thought I can do it, but I have to figure out the right way and the most efficient way. So that's what I want to share with you. Don't think that you can't do it. That's only going to create more fear and doubt. Okay, here are some tips that really helped me when I was procrastinating, and hopefully it will help you as well. I would say, like, everyone has to grow and has to just go through a certain process to get to the next level. And that means that not every illustration, painting, sketch that you are going to create is something that's going to be awesome. Maybe you make 10 sketches and one of them is going to be something that you want to put in your portfolio. If you think about each piece as an improvement and a way to learn something, you wouldn't take it as a failure. So if you change your perspective about it, you can understand why your mind is creating this fear moment, and you can overcome this fear. You know, I really think that. So it's actually a good thing, because when you are doing something that creates this fear, it just means that you are doing something out of your comfort zone. And when we do things out of our comfort zone, we are more likely to grow. Okay, here are some tips for overcoming that fear. Okay, number 1, go for a quick win. Okay, if you haven't been drawing for a long time, do some things as a warm-up session. So draw some smaller, loose sketches of the subject, you know, or tiny thumbnail sketches. So I wanted to draw a face, so I was drawing a face 10 times, just really small, and on some print paper, by the way, also, or in your sketchbook, because that's going to take the pressure off you if you notice that you have that fear. So not on a big blank canvas, just go for it, warm up, draw something that gives you a more comfortable feeling, like, okay, I got this, let's do this. Okay, number 2, minimize the risk of a messed up painting or drawing. Okay. Think in solutions instead of problems. Okay, shift your focus. So what I did was I asked myself, how can I minimize a possible struggle painting, you know, a messed up painting? And I made sure I had the right reference. So I just know that if I have a really blurry, dark picture, I have to imagine the rest, and, you know, it could make it look weird. So that would be something. Also, sketching the things that you want in your illustration a couple of times, just from, you know, different directions, but maybe from, you know, for example, different faces in my case, or if it's an animal, draw it from different directions, different poses, so you can see while you are sketching it which one is the best. And I also sketched it, printed it on a larger paper, transferred my sketch onto the panel, so my sketch, not the image, just to be sure, so that I could start with a cleaner sketch instead of sketching and erasing on the panel, because sometimes that's a little bit harder, and of course it's bigger, so hey, why not? And, you know, cut the time in half. So I did that and it went really good, no struggles whatsoever. So I was so happy, so I'm going to do that again. Okay, number 3, make sure that your brain is in the success mode. Okay, what do I mean? I'm reading a book about habits and how artists and writers are creating their new work. Now, many creatives are creating a relaxed, nice environment for themselves to work. So think about it. When you are in a happy state instead of a frustrated one, your creative brain can function better. So get some tea, light a candle if that makes you feel good, and make sure that you've eaten enough so your brain can function 100%. Maybe you've heard that classical music improves the ability to manipulate shapes mentally. So there was a study where students had to listen to Mozart's Sonato for 2 pianos in D major, and the other group had to listen to relaxation instructions for 10 minutes. So okay, think about it. 2 groups, 1 Mozart, 1 relaxation. The group that had been listening to Mozart performed better when they had to create shapes in their mind. Interesting. So they had to look at folded pieces of paper and had to predict how they would appear when unfolded. So this was a 3D to 2D exercise. Now, this is not only with classical music they found out, but with music that you like. So when you hate classical music, this isn't going to work, but listening to your favorite music will help improve your visual skills. Okay, number 4, be grateful for where you at. Maybe we don't think about this often, but there are probably other people out there who would love to draw the way you do now because they have a hard time with drawing a simple stick figure. So wherever you are right now, just be grateful about what you already have accomplished. And if you think back, probably you can think about a couple of things that really excite you, like, I did this. So it is natural for us humans to always want more and be better. Well, okay, I've met some people who didn't feel like that at all and just didn't want to push themselves in any way. But okay, I personally think it's nice if you want to get better at something that you want to learn, you want to develop yourself, but just enjoy the process and have faith in yourself. You can do it. So yeah, let me know in the comments if these tips were helpful for you, and if so, which one? I would love to know. By the way, if you didn't know, I'm also writing blog posts on Patreon about my step-by-step process, reference pictures. I try to share as much as possible and give a lot of value. So if you have some questions, you can always ask me here or on Patreon. And yeah, of course, you can find a longer video there where I talk more about the techniques of this painting and tips about color choices. This was also a postcard, so every month I'm sending out postcards and prints. You can check it out on Patreon. Okay, keep sketching and painting. See you next time. Bye bye.